What's good? What's good? It's DP on the Listen to DP podcast. We got a crazy weekend for y'all, man, and a crazy week that we got to talk about. These quarterbacks in the portal, it's going crazy. You got quarterbacks in the draft that they're trying to get back into the portal. You got quarterbacks trying to get years back. You got quarterbacks trying to, sign contracts and then trying to leave. We got a lot of crazy things to talk about. So let's start it off, man. But before we start off, make sure y'all go to YouTube and go to DP2 Nice and subscribe to the Listen to DP podcast, man, because we bring them bars. We went viral on Texas, and what's my boy's name? Livingstone situation. We went viral on the North Carolina State and the situation with their contract. We've been talking about recruiting. We've been getting it popping on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. So make sure y'all go ahead and give us a like, subscribe, and share. But let's bring our first topic to the table. Yeah, man, check this one out right here. Where we at? Where we at? Ty Simpson. Mr. Simpson. Miami football reportedly offered quarterback Ty Simpson $6.5 million. $6.5 million for next year to jump out of the portal and to get it back popping, man. So remember, Miami has made a big push, just like Oregon has made a big push to sit there and say, you know what? We want to make sure that we get these quarterbacks that are ready to play. We want to compete for championships now. They don't want to be like a school, maybe like a Kansas or let's say just Iowa State, whoever, we're just throwing that out there, Tulsa, that has to develop a guy. We want to be able to get a Cam Ward, a Ty Simpson. We want to be able to get a guy like a Bo Nix that is ready to go right now. So they talked about it. It was about about 4 million, and then it got to 5 million, and then 6.5 million. Ty Simpson said he's going to the league, but Miami said, we need you now because we're seeing the success that we had won with Cam Ward, and now we're having with Carson Beck that got us to the national championship. And that's what a lot of these big-time schools are about to do. They're about to say, you know what? Why are we getting the high school guys when we can go get a guy immediately that's going to produce and that's going to give us an opportunity to go to the playoffs, and depending on how those playoffs go, like Carson Beck, get us to a national championship. So now it's up to Ty Simpson to say, you know what? I'm either taking it or I'm declining it. And I think he's like the fourth quarterback rated off the board, because you have obviously Mendoza, and then you have what's my boy's name out of Oregon? Moore. So those are top two for sure. Now Ty Simpson comes in about 3 or 4. So that puts him about second round, I would guess. And then obviously you're going to get your bread there. But if you're Ty Simpson, you're like, man, do I take the 6.5 million plus raise my draft stock to maybe first round out of Miami and then, get that money in? So that's something that he has to really, really, really consider. And that's going to be interesting to see. I think he stays in the draft personally and doesn't come back, because this is a draft that you want to come out in. And like I said, I don't think he drops past the second round if he stays. But our next quarterback, hold on, we got that off the screen. Let me show you our next quarterback, what we're talking about. They getting to some money on as well. And that's going to be where, hold on, give me 1 second. Where are we at? Boom. Why y'all got that? But y'all see it right here. Mr. Sam Levitt. So Sam, and let's see if we get another one. He committed to LSU, and we know LSU has that bread. Sam Levitt, and that's, you see right here, it's about an hour ago. They was hating on us on the other one and wouldn't let us keep it up there. But about an hour ago, committed to LSU. And now that he's at LSU, we know he had to at least get 4.5, but I would say at least 5 million, just like the Texas Tech quarterback got coming out of Cincinnati, and as well as Ty Simpson, we just talked about. If he's getting 6.5, Sam got to at least be getting 5, because the agents know I do a lot with these contracts, and you're able to say, hey, I know what this guy's getting, and this is what I want. So if he's going to go out there and go to LSU, a school like that in the SEC, Lane Kiffin, they getting the money, they getting the NIL rev share bread, he's got to be getting that. But the funny thing is, LSU actually just had a quarterback commit as well from Elon, and he had a pretty good year. Of course, they're bringing him in to be the backup, but they did get another quarterback commit just in case Sam is acting a little funny with his money. They're like, hey, we got another guy that's able to rock and roll with you and be right. So Sam obviously had an opportunity to go to LSU. I can't my bad. I can't remember the other school, but LSU was on them tough. And LSU was on, I guess, the Chambliss kid as well, but Chambliss ended up staying at Ole Miss, and we'll get to him next. But he's fighting a battle. But that's a great pickup for LSU. I like him just because, one, he's a tough kid. He can throw the ball, but he also can scramble. That's one thing that I like in my college quarterback is the ability to be getting out the pocket and scrambling. A lot of these guys literally sit there, and when they're statues, it's hard to win college football games, right? Because sometimes you might not have the best run game, might not have the best wide receivers. So you got to be able to create. Think about Mendoza at Indiana. He doesn't run the prettiest, right? He ain't Michael Vick out there, but he can get out the pocket and create. And like I said, let's move on to our next one because we got all this stuff going with all these quarterbacks. We got, hold on. Where we at? I got a boom right here. Let's share. Chambliss plans to sue the NCAA to preserve 2026 eligibility next steps in the Rebel Star. So basically, they're going to sue the NCAA because he was saying at Ferris State, he basically missed a year due to some illness. Nothing crazy, but he had, illness that kept him out from being able to play. I feel like they said it was like sinuses, allergies, something not even crazy like that. But the big thing is he's saying Ole Miss gave me $5 million. And y'all are keeping me from working, and y'all are keeping me from making $5 million. And I need my money right now. And the best thing for these college guys when this happens is that it's not only about winning the case, it's about delaying the case in whatever they're saying, getting the injunction where a judge comes in and saying, hey, well, let's put a pause on the ineligibility talk and the kid can play until we figure it out. But obviously, if they let them play by the time they figure it out, the season's over. So think about this. As a young kid, as a young man, you have $5 million guaranteed to play college football. This is a kid coming from Division II football, right? He wasn't getting that money. He came to Ole Miss as a backup, ended up getting the job after things didn't shake out for the starter. I believe it was Simmons. I think he also got hurt. You become the guy. You go to a semifinal run. You make your bread. Now you're getting $5 million. And the craziest thing is this is what's actually interesting. They're giving him $5 million next year, but he came in as the backup this year and became a star. Did they give him any bonuses? Did they say, hey, man, you're now the starter, you get bread? So it's not like he made a lot of money that I could actually see this year. Not saying he didn't make good money, but remember, he didn't come in to be the starting quarterback. So he's like, bro, this is life-changing money, and I ain't had it, and I need it. So I'm about to sue all y'all and everybody that I need to get my money. But also the funny thing is, he's probably, if he comes out, the third quarterback off the board because I think he'll probably actually go in front of Ty Simpson. So you have Fernando, you would have Dante Moore, and then you would have him. So it's not like he ain't going to get some millions from the league. But if he goes now, you get millions from the league, figure it out. He goes next year, he gets $5 million guaranteed and gets to have a chance to raise his draft stock because he'll be the guaranteed starter. He'll have done this already. He'll be comfortable. So that's a big thing. I'm very, very interested to see how this shakes out for him because I know him, his mama, his daddy, his agent, everybody's sick right now trying to figure out how do we get this $5 million for this young man. Next, we got another quarterback. Hold on, let me click over this. We got another quarterback that's fighting the same fight. We'll go to here. Boom, let me click on it. Right here. You see, they said he receives dreadful news from the NCAA. They said, nah, bruh, nah. you are not getting a year back. But I did read that obviously they're seeking another year of eligibility after playing 6 years. Boys, grown. They got kids, they got wives, they got everything, and they still trying to play college football. That they are planning to exhaust every measure that they have to make sure that they can try to get that 7th year of eligibility. And it's crazy because excuse me, last year there were so many guys that were getting 7th years. The kid Cam McCormick out of Miami even got a 9th year. So now, my bad, I don't know if I was sharing it. I might have been sharing it, but here it is right here. The Cam McCormick kid got a 9th year out of Miami. And that's the thing that these guys are saying is like, man, y'all are giving some of these guys 9 years. Y'all are giving some of these guys 8 years. I want my 7th year, right? So obviously Chandler Morris, I believe he started at TCU, maybe went to UNT, and then went over to Virginia where he had a really good year. But the biggest thing about it is if you're going to look at some of these guys and tell them no, they're going to look back at you and say, look at all the guys that had worst cases that you actually told yes. And that's going to be a lot of what happens in these lawsuits is like saying, hey, you've told guys yes for lesser things, and we want to make sure that we're going to make it hard on you for us to tell us no, because we're ready to sue your tail. We are ready to sue, and we're going to sue, and we're going to try and see if we can get that money back. So I don't know if he wins. I think Chambliss might have a little better chance than him. But this is another guy that'll probably be a mid-round pick, late, probably I would say probably about 4th, 5th round pick as far as quarterback goes. Could slide depending if he gets the combine invite and what he does there. But these guys are wanting that money because at the end of the day, why am I going to, risk going to the league, going there and getting cut when I can get a guaranteed $5 million? Now, like I said, Ty Simpson, he's going to sit there and he's going to get drafted. He's going to probably make the team because he'll probably go 2nd round. I maybe slip to the 3rd, but I think he'll be a 2nd round guy. But some of these guys, when you look at it like a Chandler Morris guy that could be a mid to late round guy, I'm definitely sitting there trying to figure out how can I make this money work for me and give myself the best chance to, capitalize while I can. Now, here's another guy right here. Let's share this. Boom. Mr. DJ Lagway. Look at that. He committed to Baylor, but he still has dialogue with Ole Miss because we just talked about Chambliss, right? We don't know if he's going to get that year back. And he said, even though I've committed, I'm going to keep taking these visits. Nothing in the transfer portal is going to be final until the ink is dry. Just because you commit, that's just like high school commitment, does not mean that you have signed. You're trying to sign these players and not get them to commit. So they're just giving you a verbal, commitment, but that doesn't mean anything until these guys sign on the dotted line. So it's very interesting. His pops went to Baylor. But I'm not sure if, somebody brings out more money, if somebody like Ole Miss says, hey, we can match the money or give you more money, and they're going to have better athletes around them at Ole Miss. So this is very, very sticky for Baylor right now because think about it. If he ends up decommitting, you're going to be in a tough situation at Baylor because it's so late in the portal right now. Once again, I'm doing the portal stuff with a couple of athletes, and this is late in the portal. So to lose a guy like this, there's not a lot of quarterbacks that you would want after. So I'm very, very interested to see if Ole Miss can pull him over. But, what's the timeline? Because Chambliss, when does he figure out? How long does the appeal take? How long does the judge get involved? So I think he probably ends up at Baylor because it's going to be tough, especially if Ole Miss is maybe the top target. But Baylor is literally probably shaking in their boots right now because they're like, if we don't get this guy, what do we do? I don't know who they have on their roster. Most of the top quarterbacks are already gone to the schools they're going to go to. So it's going to be very, very important that they keep them. I don't know if they even sweeten the pot a little bit to keep them and get them signed right now, but they got to do something because if not, and he flips, they're going to be stuck like Chuck. Now, we're going to move on. This is one that a lot of people are very interested in for multiple reasons. And here we are right here. Mr. Dylan Raiola. Obviously, he is Patrick Mahomes Jr., right? We know he got the number, he got the swag, he got the haircut, he got the glasses, he got the warm up, he got the celebration. So check it out. This is the interesting thing about him. He committed to Oregon, right? But Dante Moore doesn't know if he's going to go to the league, which is wild because he's projected the number 2 pick of the draft. And obviously, you're going to the Jets. But once again, I don't care if I'm going to the Polar Bear Express if I'm getting a guaranteed $30+ million to play in the NFL. Because even if you get the 5 or the 6, injuries can happen. You could have a bad year, draft stock drops. So Moore could literally be going to the NFL, and I would hope that he does. But they're saying if Moore does not go to the NFL, that this young man right here could be sitting behind Moore for a season after transferring in and then playing the next year, which when people were like, he's going to have to sit. And nobody likes him. And a lot of people, hate on him for the Patrick Mahomes stuff. I've even, talked about him a little bit. But check this out. He's coming off an injury, ACL. If he gets more time to heal that, learn a system while getting paid probably a decent amount of money, that's a win for him. I don't got to rush back from an injury. I get to figure out, the system, and then get to have a really good year there, like every other plug-in quarterback Oregon has had, and then I get to raise my draft stock up. So I then this is what people don't realize. You got to think about this. The NFL, when you do really good, the more years you play, doesn't really help you in your NFL draft stock, especially for like a quarterback. When you go look at like a Trevor Trubisky, he has, one decent year at North Carolina, not a great year, but a decent year, and then he goes number 2. You have a Deshaun Watson who has a really good career. But if Dylan Raiola was able to go, and let's say he lights it up at Oregon this year, right? But then the following year, I don't know if he would come out year 3 or 4, but let's just say the following year has a decent year. So after year 3, he's a second-round draft pick. And he's like, I want to raise my draft stock up again. But then they get a little more tape on him. Sometimes that's not good. When you pop on the scene early, they're now trying to pick you apart more than they're trying to, say, oh, this is why we want the guy. When you're out there early, they get more times to see why they might not want you. So if he gets to heal, get in this system, blow it up for 1 year at Oregon, he can dip and get out, right? I don't want to show you 2 years at Oregon. I want to get in, get out, and that is what it is. Plus, I get to go with the injury and get that healed up, and I don't got to rush back, and I'm comfortable. So I don't think this is the worst situation for a kid like him and what he's dealing with, because when you're coming off of an injury, man, you want to make sure you're super, super, super confident in yourself, confident that you've recovered from the injury as well. So I think this is something that people got to stay on the lookout for. But I don't see Moore staying. Like, once again, I know you don't want to go to the Jets, bro, but don't do that. You don't want to get injured. You don't want to have a bad year. And now it's like, yeah, you don't go to the Jets, but now you're a 3rd-round pick because maybe you don't do as good. Maybe, you know what I mean, you show some more tendencies that coaches don't like. Maybe you get hurt. I think when the money is right there and it's guaranteed, especially at the number 2 pick, it should be well over $30 million. You got to take that. So I think at the end of the day, we'll have to see how Dylan comes back from the injury, but I think he'll definitely be playing. And for our last quarterback that we're going to talk about, I don't know how close y'all follow it, but Mr. Damon Williams. He flirted with the portal, dropped by the agent, and will stay at Washington. Remember, so this is how it went. Damon Williams, he has people hitting him up for the portal. Nah, I'm going to sign this $4 million contract, and I'm staying here in Washington. A few days later, he then says he wants to jump into the portal. I think it was January 2nd he signed the contract. January 6th, he wants to get into the portal. Well, Washington said that they had in the contract that you can't get into the portal, my boy, because we're giving you this $4 million, and that was a part of the agreement. Well, now him and the coaches and the agents and the team and everybody else are going back forth. Well, his agent then drops him. Well, why does he drop him? Well, not because he's doing it out the goodness of his heart. So they ain't got more about it. But it's because he also represents the head coach at Washington. He represents the head coach. So therefore, if you're representing the head coach and the star quarterback, there's a conflict of interest. Whose side are you on? Are you on the head coach's side or are you on the quarterback side? Where's more money coming back, the head coach or the quarterback? So he drops the quarterback. And then the craziest thing is the quarterback ends up coming back to Washington as well. So now, not only do you go through all that just to stay at the school, we got to see, and obviously he's going to be the starter, but we got to see, how do you mend the relationship between the coach and the quarterback, the coach and the agent and the quarterback, the quarterback and the team, the quarterback and the receivers, the quarterback and the fans. So a lot goes into this, and that doesn't take away from anything that he's doing on the field, but it's still something you have to navigate and you have to deal with. So that's something interesting because you do all of that. If you're going to do all this, you got to dip, bro. You literally did all that and you're still on the team. And now you got boys looking at you crazy. And I'm just hoping these guys didn't sit there and pull what the Arizona State guys did with Jaden Daniels when he left. We don't need him. They threw all the stuff out of his locker. He wasn't good anyway. I'm hoping none of the receivers and offensive guys was talking crazy because he's back. So obviously he has some mending to do with his guys, but it's going to be super interesting. And the quarterback, man, like they're making so much. Obviously we didn't even talk about the Cincinnati quarterback. He's getting $5 million from Texas Tech. Sorsby, he's a really, really, really good quarterback, man. And I think that he's going to be able to do some good things there. Once again, he's a great competitor. I love what I've seen from him as far as being a competitor. I think that he can run the ball. I think that he can throw relatively well. As you see, look, $5 million. Highest paid QB. So that's why everybody else is having to, go off of this right here. But I think, you can't even see it. Hold on. Let me get you right. But yeah, I think that's why everybody else is having to go off of this right now because they're like, shoot, if Sorsby is making $5 million, I need my money. And if y'all ain't giving me, that $4 minimum, but now the guys that like Damon Williams, because he's staying at the same school, but the guys going to new schools are sitting there like, if you ain't giving me that $5 million and up, what are we talking about? Look at that. Ooh-wee. $5 million, bro, to go from Cincinnati to Tech. These kids are getting life-changing money, man. So let me know how y'all feel about the quarterback circus and everything that's going on with these QBs in the portal and going to schools and getting $5 million, going to the draft, people trying to pull you out the draft to get $6.5 million. You got guys literally committing to schools saying, I'm taking trips. You got guys signing contracts saying, I want to get in the portal. It's been a circus for these quarterbacks. The portal is a circus in general. But this quarterback stuff is different because the money's just different, man. So please make sure y'all like, y'all subscribe, y'all go to YouTube, go to the DP2 Nights channel, and share with friends, family. Hey, hopefully y'all enjoyed this. We out.